I have a second thing.
Yeah, go ahead, yo. Please.
Okay.
Please.
I'm so excited for this.
Okay.
I got asked to get off a plane leaving Austin, Texas.
I heard about that and I was like,
I know you texted me.
Yes.
You texted me.
But like, so I love that you just see, you're unlike any other guest. I have a guest, like I just interviewed and they were like, I don't want to talk about that. And you talk about everything. You're an open book. And that's why I think it's healthy and people like you.
Thank you. I wanted to have just a slight runway here to be able to, to talk about this, because what happened was, and it's very, very simple.
All right.
I had too many drinks, and I had too many drinks in a public place.
Right.
And I got on a plane, and the reason that I wanted to talk about it is, and we'll get to it eventually, this will all make sense, is I was pissed off about something else that had nothing to do with Cass, my wife.
Right.
And I picked a fight. I picked a fight because I wanted to be loud and upset. And it was a fight, as in like, it was not an argument. In order to have an argument, two people have to be talking.
Engaged.
My wife said one thing the entire time, which was, if you don't lower your voice, they're going to ask you to get off the plane. That's the only thing that she said the entire time.
And what are you doing the whole time?
I can't even, honestly, I can't even remember what I was upset about, which was indicative of two things. A, handle your liquor. I had too many drinks.
Right.
And B, it clearly wasn't important. I was just upset and wanted to be upset. And sure enough, after she said this, a guy came by and he said, "Sir, you have to keep your voice down, please."
Just a random guy or a flight attendant?
It wasn't a flight attendant. It was the guy that the flight attendant had clearly called. So obviously Cass was 100% right here.
Right.
I was being loud. I was probably dropping a few F-bombs. I've got the noise canceling. This is not an excuse. I'm not here to make excuses because it's 100% my fault.
And you're being louder than you.
But yeah. And I don't even want to smile while I'm telling this story because I'm actually frankly like deeply ashamed of it. But I got asked, I was quiet for 10 minutes. The guy came back. Clearly I had made somebody uncomfortable and someone had said something, and they just make the decision. You got to get off the plane. So I got off the plane. I booked on the next flight. I went from...
Did you sober up for the next flight?
Yeah, I sure did. You want to know why? Because I was sitting in row 17 in the middle seat as opposed to, I wanted to get home.
Right.
But then I found out that it was going to come out on TMZ. And when I found that out, and the reason I want to bring it up is because I talked about it. And in my one thing that I said about it on the internet, I referred to it as an argument between my wife and I.
And it wasn't.
It was not an argument.
It was just you being loud.
It was me. This is 100% my fault. Like I feel like I went the better part of 10 years without, being an asshole in public. I was an asshole in public.
How pissed was Cass?
Super pissed. And she should be pissed. And she was frankly even more pissed when I said argument as opposed to pick a fight. And I sent that tweet at like 4:00 in the morning because I woke up to a text from my buddy in Toronto that just said, "Are you okay?" And I went, "Oh my God.
It's out.
It's out." And they used a shitty old photo from like 7 years ago. And the whole thing sucks. It's really, really shameful. And it makes you kind of look in the mirror. And I just realized a couple of things. Don't, if people are going to recognize you, don't necessarily drink in a public place, but more importantly, don't drink in a public place if you can't handle your shit.
But I've never known you to be someone who can't handle their alcohol or gets a little out there with it.
Well, on occasion, that is what happens. But don't do it on a plane, you fucking loser. And that was it. And you texted me on the B side of it. So that's it. That's the whole story. But the long tail, the B side of it is the fucking phone calls that you have to make apologizing because the story hits and, I've got to call my mom and I've got to call.
What happened? What were you doing?
Are you okay? Are you okay, buddy? And it's like, yes, I'm okay.
Let me ask you this. Did you resist them taking you off the plane?
No, and that's the scariest part for me. The scariest part is that I was inebriated. I was upset. And it would have been very easy when the gentleman came up and said, you collect your things. Let's talk at the top of the entranceway. And I said to him, please do not make me get off this plane. I was focused in. I was staring out the window. I wasn't going to say a word for the next 2.5 hours. And he said, well, collect your things. We'll talk about it at the top of the entranceway. And I went, okay.
But you were tempted to be a little bit.
Well, what if I just casually, flippantly, not being in sound mind and body, if I offer like a quick passive fuck off, and all of a sudden I'm in bracelets.
Yeah.
I might. I mean, maybe I destroy my entire life, my entire career. So I think ultimately, very ashamed of it, trying to make amends for it, specifically with my wife.
She's forgiven you at this point. This has been a while.
I mean, it's a work in progress. It's not the best.
Right.
I mean, you can work through things, but that doesn't mean they didn't happen. Right.
What kind of conversations do you have at home? Do you have conversations like Cass saying things like, I don't like seeing you like that. I don't want to be around that.
Well, I mean, not since that point.
Right.
But I don't know. I just, this is a weird experience that we all live in, where people just sort of give you whatever you want. And occasionally that leads to just not setting appropriate boundaries in your own life. So we're having conversations about that, about just basic stuff. And, it's a good thing, but it's a good thing that we have those conversations. I'm just happy that I didn't give the tertiary passive fuck off, because then I'm in jail in Austin.